Sweden is one of the best places to start a startup. It's right behind Silicon Valley as the highest number of startups per capita. Publications. Oh, okay, sorry. I know how to answer that question now. So if you can cut it then.
So let's hop right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from Sweden, and might not be your typical Swede, but not all Swedes are blonde and blue-eyed. So I'm from the southern part called Skåne. It's the southernmost tip of Sweden, and I currently live in the capital, which is Stockholm.
So why did you choose to write your book?
Well, I mean, I've always traveled a lot, but in recent years, me and my husband, we started to travel around Sweden just to kind of experience our country and where we live. And I fell in love with Sweden again. So now I've visited so many places, and I'm still in awe that not more people come here on vacation. It's such a great place, and we have such a variety as well. From the southern part, where we have like white sandy beaches, to the northernmost like Arctic climate with like tundra and high mountains, and you can go ski and yeah, you can see the northern lights. So we kind of have everything in our long country.
What's your favorite dish, if you can name one or maybe two?
Yeah. Well, like I have a sweet tooth. So like the best thing in Sweden for me is cinnamon buns. So every time I go abroad, I always miss them. So it's kind of like a cinnamon bun, but they bake it differently in Sweden. I don't know how it tastes so different, but it's really tasty. So if you visit, make sure to get one. That's my absolute favorite. And for savory dishes, it might be a little bit boring, but like the meatballs in Sweden, they're so good. You can get a taste of them at IKEA, but when you get here, you try the pickled cucumbers and the lingonberry mixed with sugar and meatballs, the brown sauce and the pressed potatoes. It's really delicious.
So what are three things, apart from the Swedish meatballs, that Sweden is known for?
Well, I mean, IKEA is the biggest thing that everybody knows. The second thing is probably like Zlatan, the footballer.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he's one of the national treasures here in Sweden. And maybe Nick Lidström or Peter Forsberg
Yes.
if you're more into hockey. So, and then we have on the music scene, we have ABBA or Avicii, depending on your like generation. So that's the things we Swedes are most proud about.
If you had one day off with unlimited budget in your hometown or anywhere in your country, where would you go and what would you do?
I mean, I think it's a tough question because Sweden in general, one of the great things about traveling here is that the best things to do in Sweden don't have to cost that much. You know, we have great public transportations, and you can even go to the archipelago with the public transportation boat that costs about $4. So it's really easy to get around and really explore nature, which is, I think, the best asset here in Sweden. So you don't need that much money. But if you want to splurge, you can, of course, like rent your own boat and go around the archipelago. It's amazingly beautiful. Like you see hundreds of islands. You can stop by even uninhabited islands, just dock with your boat and jump on, have a picnic or whatever. Enjoy like the mild Swedish summers. It's one of the best things. And then maybe rent one of the floating saunas because we have a strong sauna culture here in Sweden. So the water is still quite cold. So you get in the sauna, jump in the water, and you float along like the water with the sauna. So that's quite a nice experience.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And speaking of saunas, would there be one spa that you'd recommend for travelers?
Yeah, I mean, in in Sweden, this is also like the Swedish style or Swedish culture is very closely linked to Japanese. So there's a really nice spa in Stockholm, quite luxurious, but it has a mix of the Japanese and Scandinavian culture and design. Once you get there, no phones allowed, and you get great food, and it's located in the middle of the forest in the archipelago. So it's where forest meets water. It's quite an amazing experience. You get centered. That's one of the best spots, I would say.
Best luxury hotel that you'd recommend within Sweden?
Mhm. So I would actually combine like luxury with nature because nature in Sweden is luxury. So there's one hotel up north, which is called the Tree Hotel. So they built hotel rooms, all are unique. So they built hotel rooms up in the trees. So you're actually like floating within the treetops. So you get your own private, unique room in the treetops. So you get really connected with nature. And if you visit from I would say October till March, then you can see the northern lights as well from your like cottage in the trees, so to say. That's an amazing experience.
What would be one or a few tips that you'd give to help someone who has never spoken the language before?
Yeah, that's a tough one because Swedish people are generally quite good at speaking English. So if they hear you're struggling with Swedish, they will immediately switch over to English. So a lot of people and friends I have that's from another country, they find it really hard to learn the language because they never get the chance. Because even if you're in a full group with like 12 people, everybody will immediately switch over to English. So you would understand, and so we could all speak together. So yeah, that's a tough one, but I would say like just general words like thank you, tack. That's a good thing to know because Swedish people are quite polite, so they expect you to say thank you quite often. And if you say like tack, it means a lot.
Tuck. Okay.
Tack. Yeah, good. A lot of places, and I lived in a lot of places, and Sweden is a safe country. You really feel safe. Everything just works here. It works, and you get to experience places like by yourself and not crowded with a lot of people. So yeah, that's I don't know if that answered your question, but
One hidden gem within your country.
so most places in Sweden are hidden gems because we don't get that much tourism. So if you go, you're probably going to be like by yourself or with a limited amount of people. But to go up north, I think Abisko is one of the best places in the world to see the northern lights. So if you go to Abisko, it has like a special kind of geography which clears out the clouds. So you can basically see the northern lights every day. But
Speaking of finding things in the forest, what's one hike that you'd recommend?
all right, so there's one in Värmland is a region of Sweden where we have really deep forests. We have like a lot of animals and wildlife. You have like bears and wolves and moose and like foxes, everything like that. And there's a lot of nice hiking trails there. So there's one called Värmlandsleden, which is a set trail where you can walk around the forest. It's beautiful. You get waterfalls, and you can really get close to the wildlife. And in Sweden, we have Höga Kusten, which is basically the high coast. So you walk on. It's been formed since like before the Ice Age. So the mountain has been pressed up. So you walk on top of a mountain, and it's kind of a steep bit of archipelago as well down in the water. So it's a beautiful view, and you get to see like an ancient rock formation, which is really cool as well.
Readers to know about Alexandra that is not very well known about you.
About me, well, one thing that you don't know about me is that I have a background as an entrepreneur. Even though I'm a writer today, I have 3 successful companies behind me, and it's because I lived in Sweden. And Sweden is we have a great startup culture, and you feel that when you're in Stockholm, especially the capital city. So yeah, I mean, if you're traveling here, it's good to go to like the technical museum and see the different innovation that's
What's one thing you want the world to know about Easy Mark Publishing and the mission we're currently on?
so the thing that I appreciate the most is the focus on female authors, first of all, and also that you're using locally authored books, like you're using local authors to describe their hometown. And I don't think there's any better way to get an introduction to a new country than by a local. So that's one of the things that I really appreciate with Busy Mark publications.
Awesome. And we really appreciate you, Alexandra. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye.